Hey, it's Job, and I have another journal with me for you today. I really wanted to diversify the types of videos I have on this channel, and I even filmed a short tutorial on how I cover my notebooks with contact paper. But sadly, the footage didn't turn out that great. Please let me know if you'd like to see that video in the future. Let's get started. So while I was rambling, I ripped a page from my vintage Korean English dictionary and taped it to the top left-hand corner of the left page. I wanted to put some paint down on the right-hand side of the page, so I decided to take out my Shinhan watercolors. Since I planned on putting down a heavy wash of paint, I thought I would put the paint on now so I could let it dry while I worked on the left-hand side of the spread. Since I made a mess, I took out my trusty wipes and cleaned my table before continuing. I think wipes are a necessary stationery supply to have on hand because you constantly need to wipe and clean your table, as well as rubber and clear stamps. After taking a sip of coffee, I pulled out my favorite tearaway calendar and tore off the date for the left-hand side of the spread. As usual, I'm using my favorite tape runner from Daiso to adhere that onto the page. Since I have quite a few washi tapes, I decided to pick a few that I haven't used in a while. This Cavallini map washi and this classic-y blue grid washi are awesome, but I guess I just haven't used them enough lately. I placed the washis right beside the tearaway calendar sheet and just layered them on top of each other. After, I took my Pentel Aquash brush pen filled with black sumi ink and I just scripted out the word Tuesday. The sumi ink is quite thick, so the brush lettering that results from using the sumi ink with a brush pen is quite unique. You get that dry brush look, which looks very casual. I wanted to incorporate some stamping onto the page, so I took this wooden alpha stamp set and I'm going to use this rubber band technique that I've done in previous videos to get even spacing between the stamps. I'm stamping NOV for November. After cleaning those alpha stamps, I went through my supplies again to find a stamp that I haven't used in a while. I remember buying this sumo wrestler stamp in Tokyo last February, and I wanted to use it in the spread since I haven't used it in a while. I don't want to say I regret buying this stamp, but from what I remember, it cost almost $9 for that tiny stamp. I guess I should use it more to get my money's worth. Anyways, I used a black ink for this stamp since I'm going to color in that stamp later. While I'm waiting for the ink to dry, I wanted to give the little sumo guy a speech bubble. I had the day off from work that Tuesday, so I thought it would be funny to make the sumo wrestler look like he was screaming, "Day off!" onto the page. Since the ink was dry after creating that speech bubble, I pulled out my watercolors again and mixed a few colors to use on the sumo wrestler. I honestly don't know why it took me so long to color that sumo wrestler in. To be fair though, this was my first time using these cheap Daiso brushes. They're actually not that bad considering that a pack of 6 brushes only costs 1,500 won, which is about $1.50. After painting the sumo wrestler, I put down a few washis at the bottom of the page. Overall, I thought that the page lacked of color, so I took my distress spray out, and I forget the name of this one, but I think it's called Fossilized Amber, and I sprayed it onto a spare paint palette. I've been playing around with these distress sprays lately, and since they are water-based, they kind of just work like watercolor. I used a wet brush and painted on the distress spray. Although my wet brush diluted the color a bit, I think it still turned out pretty great. To distress the page a bit more, I took out my Camel Garden stamps and stamped this floral print stamp on random spaces of the page with a brown ink. The page was still a little flat, so I took the brown ink and lightly dabbed it onto the page, as well as running the ink on the edges of the page to give the edges a worn-in look. After, I went in with an orange ink and used that other Camel Garden stamp to layer even more stamps on the page. While I was finishing up this page, I had this urge to paint, so I decided to paint this cool leaf I picked up from my walk home from work that day. I wanted to challenge myself and try painting this leaf a bit more realistically than my usual simple and loose watercoloring style. I'm probably just gonna put some music on because this painting honestly took me a bit of time. If you want to fast forward this painting bit, check the description bar for a timestamp to continue watching the journaling portion of this video. I hope you like Aaliyah because I found this catchy remix of Rock the Boat. Whew, that took a long time. I actually had to speed the clip up 8 times the normal speed so you're not just watching me paint for the whole day. Honestly, I don't think I did too bad actually. It's not a perfect copy, but I think the painting captures the look of the leaf in general. I definitely need to practice on realistic watercolor painting though. After letting the leaf painting dry, I carefully cut it out from my sketchbook, but I didn't like the look of the straight edges, so I ended up tearing the edges on one side of the painting. Before taping it onto the spread, I put a short strip of the brown book washi from Classicy at the bottom of the page since I wanted to mirror what I did on the left hand side of the spread. A few people have asked where I've purchased my tape runner, and it's from Daiso. If your local Daiso or dollar store doesn't carry any tape runners, Michaels has a huge selection of them. Honestly, the tape runner from Daiso isn't the best quality, but I think I like it because it's cheap. I also like using the Tombow tape runner, but I can't seem to find it here in Korea. Anyways, right now I'm fussy cutting out this clip from the MT clip washi, and I want to use that as a makeshift sticker. I want the leaf painting to appear like it's been secured onto the page with a clip. I've actually seen people create sticker flakes out of this washi, but I just can't bring myself to set aside time and fussy cut all of these clips. I don't think I have the right scissors for the job, or maybe I'm just really impatient. The right side of the leaf painting looked a bit empty, so I got my date stamp and stamped it onto that empty space. I kind of worked backwards on the right hand side of the spread since I haven't created the date yet for that page. As usual, I'm gonna flip through my array of post-its to find a few that I can use for the background of the date. I ended up using this yellow post-it and then this Classicy onion skin paper for the background of the date. My camera died, but basically I just stamped down the date onto the post-its, and I used my Recollections Clear Alpha stamp set for that. I thought the spread looked pretty complete, but I wanted to incorporate some postage stamps onto the spread. I feel a bit ashamed showing you my unorganized and unsorted stamp collection, but oh well. I hope to organize them soon so I can keep or reserve my favorite stamps so I don't accidentally use them in my journal or in my collages. I ended up using a variety of stamps in red and brown hues, and I think most of the stamps I used were Canadian postage stamps. Instead of activating the glue on the stamps with water, I opted to use my tape runner because A, I'm lazy, and B, some of these stamps have already been used so the glue has already deteriorated. To finish this spread, I added one lonely stamp near the date on the right page. As for my journaling, I'm going to use my Twisby Eco in the black color and use my own custom ink. I basically just mixed two different Jairbon inks. As always, I'm going to finish the journaling off camera. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me ramble for 10 minutes. I think I'm going to switch it up next week and upload something different. I was thinking of maybe filming my current traveler's notebook setup, or maybe another flip through of a completed insert. Let me know what you want to watch. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a blessed day. Bye!